Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. And today is Tuesday. And you know what? This is Women's History Month, and it's almost over. But listen, I hope that you celebrated some women or some women who have done great things and paved the way for us all. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I want to tell you that we have a great show. I mean, a great show lined up for you today with a great musical guest who has ties to some of Chicago's most well known musical artists. Should I say they are all, we can put them all in legendary status. But before I do that, I want to remind you that the song that you just heard, Bill Street Blues, is by my friend Donald Kincaid. And there's only way that you can get that music, and that is to inbox me. If you inbox me, then I will tell you how you can purchase Bill Street Blues because it's not something that you can get on Apple Music or Spotify or any of the streaming apps. There's a certain way you can get it. So if you inbox me, Katie Lowe, on Facebook, and you enjoyed listening to Bill Street Blues, I can give you the information on how to obtain that music. As a matter of fact, it's a two set CD, has some great music on it, all blues, and one country and western. And if you'd like to get that music, like I say, inbox me at Katie Lowe on Facebook, and I'll tell you how to get that music. I'm going to bring in my guest co-host for today, and we're going to talk about some hot topics. And after we talk about those hot topics, we're going to bring in the featured guest for today. Okay. Why don't I finish playing out the music? And then when I come back, we'll have the guests on the screen.
Hello, Katie Lowe. How are you doing? Hi, everyone. This is Lady Patice, and I'm so glad you tuned in.
Like I said, that is Bill Street Blues. You can purchase that music only one way, and you have to inbox me, and then I can tell you how to get it. That is Bill Street Blues. It's Donald Kincaid and the Irresistible Truth. And you can't get it on Apple Music, and you can't get it on Spotify. But if you inbox me, I'll tell you how you can get it. Well, hey, Lady Petite.
Hello, Katie Lowe. How you doing there? I'm glad to be here.
I'm great. And how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm blessed. I'm just grateful to see another day. Yes, my name is Lady Patice, those who don't know, and I'm a part of today's show with Katie Lowe on Rhythm and Flow Radio live stream show.
All right. Listen, we have some hot topics that one of them I really want to pull out. I mean, I know this is Women's History Month and everything, but there is something that is trending, and it's trending not only on social media, it's trending everywhere. And that is, did you know that they were finally having the trial for George, what's his name?
George Floyd.
George Floyd. That's right. That's
Mm.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And you know that that trial is being a live stream. You can catch it on the TV.
Hmm.
Did you know that?
Yes, I was watching. I was watching as much as I could yesterday. You know, they have a channel named Courtroom or Court Channel, and I was watching that case about him, and it's really something how they're trying to, with a lawyer that's representing the police officer who had his knee on his neck, George Floyd neck. They trying to link it like that's not the primary reason why. Uh, of the primary reason of his death, when they trying to link it towards it was a factor, but not the primary reason due to illegal
Drug
drug.
usage.
Yeah. So what you
Yeah.
think about that? I'm not.
Well, you know what? I have come to realize in life that no matter what we do in America as people of color, racism will always be a factor. I mean,
Mm,
no matter what you do,
that's true.
racism is going to always play a part. And what really, really, I guess, made me realize this as I live in the Austin community on the west side of Chicago. And we have a great big scandal over here with Loretta Hospital
Hmm.
and the vaccine. The CEOs, the heads that run Loretta, have been playing patronage to, I guess, their friends and business partners,
Hmm.
and they have been allowing them to get vaccine, to get the coronavirus vaccine that's set up for the community.
Mm.
They have, I mean, just think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's going on. Really, it is.
They
And
say that they
mhm,
say that African, I mean, people of color, especially
mhm.
African Americans, we, I mean, we died at rapid numbers. It attacked us. We died, and they said it was because we don't go to the doctor. We don't get regular checkups. We don't eat healthy. We do everything that's wrong. So that's why a lot of us died. Okay, and a lot of our underlying health conditions, and a lot of us probably when we got it, we just thought it was like a common cold or a simple cough, and we really didn't do anything about it, and we ended up dying. And then some of us, when we went to the hospital, what did they tell us to do? They told us to go back home and quarantine ourselves.
Mhm.
So a lot of us died. So when the vaccine came out, you would think that they would want to vaccinate a lot of people of color.
Right. Since we're at a high risk, we are.
Absolutely.
I mean, it seemed like when, according to what my understanding, to each their own, when you are at a high risk, I'm trying to say the word right. You are the primary person that needs to be attended to. If you're not at a high risk, then you pretty much is okay. You're not at that danger zone where they got to say, you got to go first. So since we are the people, Black people,
Hmm.
at a high risk, that should consider us as being number one to get the care that we need, to get everything that's provided for us in the medical insurance supposed to provide, or whatever else that we need as far as the medical care. If we are high risk people, then why you're not treating us like high risk patients who needs immediate attention more than anybody else? Not saying no one don't get the medical care or the medical help that's needed, but that's just like if a woman is pregnant and she had a high risk pregnancy, but there's a woman who's not pregnant, that is pregnant and not at a high risk pregnancy. Why would you attend to the woman who's not at a high risk pregnancy and take the woman that is at a high risk pregnancy, put her in the back burner, knowing the danger?
Well, that's where I was gonna That's where racism comes in. Racism
Exactly.
plays a factor in everything that we do. And with COVID, with the vaccine, it has proven that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, half of the people they couldn't even they couldn't even get an appointment because
No.
all of the appointments were taken. So when I think about just life in general and the things that happen in life,
Mm.
and it's always going to be made that we are they don't want to use the term racism. It's just a circumstance. Now back to George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd's lawyer has a lot of help. Just to see him there, you would think that he has no help, but he has plenty of help.
Yes, he does.
He has, I
House
think he
guard.
has over he has access to over $1 million. That's a fund that was taken up to help with Derek Chavin's defense,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a host of policemen and other officials at his hands that believe that Floyd didn't kill. Um, Shavin didn't kill George Floyd. That it was. I don't know. Maybe they want to say it's an accident, but how can you accidentally, for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, hold your knee on a person's neck, and they tell you that they can't breathe, and you keep holding your knee on their neck, so they can't be an accident.
Okay, I really just like to say, I guess they think that because what our eyes see, our mind is thinking differently. So, in other words, okay, your eyes didn't see right. So, I guess like my mind is going to start saying, I didn't see it right. No, we saw it right. It was naked on the scene. Everybody in the whole world saw that. How can you try to brainwash and try to make it look like, oh, it wasn't like that? He was doing no. The man was restrained. He was restrained. He had handcuffs in the back of his in the back of his back. He was not able to move. Why? Because he was on the ground. Everybody saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw the police officer with his knee on a man's neck. I mean, how can you try to explain that or somebody tweaking with the no? It been a whole. It's in May. It'll be a whole year.
Well,
So
I really want to try to follow this trial,
mhm.
and I hate to be the one to say it. I will not be surprised if he gets off.
I have the feeling because that's what it's aiming towards. It's aiming towards trying to drop charges. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I think that's why they paid his family. What was it, 23 or 27 million dollars
mhm.
right before the trial started? I believe that they hurry up and made that settlement because they know that this trial is they know this trial is not going to come out right. And
Yeah,
if they find him guilty, I'm gonna say it. I'll be shocked as hell.
me too. Me too.
Find If they find Shaven guilty, I'll be shocked as hell because I really believe that when they gave up that 27 million or 23 million to his family, I believe that that's gone and paid them because when the verdict comes out, maybe we'll have some help and they won't tear up Minnesota.
Mm,
But
mm.
I just don't believe that this thing is going to come out right.
I don't think they're gonna. I would hate. I hate to say it and agree with you because I would like to say something different, but I really believe they are cooking up something, and it ain't nothing good. This recipe is not gonna be nothing good to taste. It
Oh
really.
wow, you agree with me. Check that out. I thought I was gonna have somebody say, "Oh no,
Oh
we
no,
can't
no.
know about that
Well,
one."
I mean, I got my own point of view, but I see the facts that's going on, and I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Okay, another thing I want to talk about real quick, and then we need to bring our guests on.
Uh huh.
You know, Chicago, our numbers have been going, they have been going down. And as far as COVID-19,
Hmm.
our numbers have been going down, and the mayor and the governor have been looking in places where they could open the city back up. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you, I was looking forward to that too, because I know that that means a nightlife, and for entertainers, people that are in the entertainment industry, that's great because therefore they will get out and get to work again.
Yes.
Okay, but those numbers have started to go back up.
Mm.
They have started to go back up, and they say it's in young adults.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think it's just young adults because you got adults that looks young and they not. That's out there doing it too. But I mean, for the most half, yeah, it's the younger people and younger adults who that just don't want to be confined anymore, and they taking a risk. A risk. For some reason, this word is not fitting well with me, but a risk and putting their self and their family health in danger. And what I mean, because we still have coronavirus that's still spreading, and we need to do what we can to keep the spread from spreading. But what is happening is just people are getting restless. They're getting like, oh, I can't take this no more kind of thing because it's starting to warm up. Here it is. Spring is right around the corner.
Mhm.
Summer is right around the
Oh,
corner.
we're already in spring.
And yeah, so you have all this is happening, and people don't want to sit at home anymore, even though it's not a good thing for now. But you got people that's like wiggling. I want to be free, but if you're going to be free, be protective about it. You know, have common sense of what's really going on as far as the coronavirus spread. This is something they need to really look at. But it's starting to look like a struggle for some. It's really starting to look
Well,
like a struggle for
they
some.
say it's young adults, I guess, because they are getting these numbers in.
Hmm.
When they, I guess, when they find out people that have tested positive, they get the numbers in, and I assume that when they do the test, well, I know how they do the test. You have to have ID, and this is how they are fitting in that age bracket. Because when you get the COVID test, you have to have a piece of photo ID, and this is, I guess, this is how they get this stats in to say
Yeah.
that they are young people that are testing positive. And I want to say that, if you have young people, I'm going to say young adults under 30, they need to be educated and know that this coronavirus is no joke.
Exactly.
It's a killer. It is a killer.
Mhm.
There have been people that God has blessed, and they have been fortunate enough to survive the
Yes.
pandemic, and there have been over 500,000 lives that have been lost. So if
Right.
you have young people and they are careless, uh, maybe it's time to really sit down and have a one-on-one talk with them, and to educate them, and to let them know how serious this is. Because we have to realize when those young people go out and do whatever they do, and if they're living in the house with you, they
Mm.
bring that back. They bring if they go out there and get it, they bring it back in the house. So that's why we have to educate them. And it's
Mm.
sad to have a grandparent or a great grandparent living in the house, and that they have not been vaccinated. and
Mhm.
you go out there and party and get it and come back in and get them infected. And they are the most vulnerable. So we as adults, I mean, it doesn't have to be a child. It could just be a young person that you know. Please take time and educate them and let them know how serious this is, that how
Absolutely.
serious COVID is, and that it's not a joke.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to tell you about this one man, and then we're gonna. I really have to tell you about this one man. The Chicago police moved to end this man's frequent
Uh,
mistaken detention. This is such a sad story. I mean, I fuss about uh, I fuss about the telemarketers and all of those phone calls. Those are people I can't see, and I can just hang up on them. You know, and block their number, even though they come up with another number and call me
mhm.
back. But
Mhm.
this is a sad story. His name is Darren Coles. He's 50 years old. This man has been stopped more than 60 times by the Chicago police over the past 15 years
Woo!
because of
Oh,
a
come on. Oh my.
because of a mistaken warrant.
Hmm.
Okay, could you imagine? Over 15 years almost every time you go, you're gonna be stopped by the police. And listen, the thing is, I believe they know they're stopping him, but they still detain him and they know he's not the man that
Wow.
they're looking for.
It messed that man record up. I hope they're able to straighten out. Would that? I'm gonna go back. Would that mess his record up for being detained like that so
Well,
many
it
times?
won't. I guess after they run everything and they find out it's not him, he
Hmm.
doesn't have a record. But it's just the idea that these are he said these are Chicago police.
Mm.
These are not the police from the suburbs. These are not the county mounties. These are Chicago police,
Mhm.
according to what he's saying. And he's saying for the past 15 years, he's constantly been stopped because
Mhm.
they were looking for somebody, but he's not that person. And after they stop him, I mean, he's been detained, he's been put in jail, he's been kept for, I guess, what is it? How they can keep you for so many hours. And he filed a lawsuit.
Yeah, you should.
Filed a lawsuit. And after he filed a federal lawsuit alleging that he had been punched, had guns pointed after him, felt like his civil rights had been violated because they're looking for somebody and he is not the one. But guess they're still arresting him. They're still stopping him.
That's a
So
shame.
I just,
Like he marked. It's like he is just marked for them to do this to him. It's just like it's like an entity that's attached itself to his life. And
absolutely.
that's like harassment in a way. I can understand it's probably messing with him emotionally, mentally. And as far as his trust with policemen, he probably having a very big issue with trusting a cop or if he see a police car drive past and make a U-turn. Oh my God, they finna mess with me. I mean, he was probably mentally tortured. Yeah, I'm just saying, if every time I look up, a policeman is arresting me and I'm not the person, they still keep me in for hours. I have to say, he got to be emotionally and mentally disturbed from that. I mean, if he's not, that's a miracle.
And the reason I chose these three things to talk about today, Derek, who's been stopped by the police, the coronavirus and young adults, and the trial. Because if you think about it, I made the statement that no matter what you do in life, and I want everybody to remember that, racism is involved. In all three of these cases, there are a form of racism that's involved.
Mm, yeah.
Okay? If you think about it. So we live in that society. And I just wanted to, that's why I chose these three topics. Because if you think about it, this has been going on for a long time. And I doubt it if it will ever stop.
Well, I want to back. I'm a back different on that part. Only reason why I'm saying because I believe sooner or later that's there's going to be a breakthrough. It may start off small, but I believe in a given time that racism will be consumed by another form of people having fair justice. If we keep knocking on that door, eventually the breakthrough will come. It may take some time.
The breakthrough will come when you change the narrative in Washington, D.C. If there's
Yeah.
anybody that is sitting in a government office in Washington and you were there before the computer, it's time for your butt to go. Okay?
Hit the road, Jack.
Hit the road, Jack. And that's the problem. They got to change the narrative up there because you have listen, all you got to do is have 5 or 10 racist people. And I'm not saying they can be Republican, they can be racist Democrats too. But all you got to do is have a few in the bunch. And believe me, before you leave, you'll have more than a few. Because it just takes one bad apple to turn all of them around.
Yeah.
So you got to think if you got a few bad apples in Washington, they can make it hard for everybody.
Yeah, that would be a very big challenge. But I believe that challenge, if people are wise enough and smart enough, won't be hard for them to overtake.
Well, I hope that, listen,
so hopefully they know how to.
I truly hope that I truly hope that it happens. I'm a baby boomer, and boy, it's been around as long as I have. Okay, look, let's get ready. I'm gonna throw this song on right here, right quick, and then we're gonna get ready to bring our guests in. We'll be right back. We're gonna give our guests a chance to get ready. Okay, we're gonna bring our guests in. Hello. Charlie, ChuckaLuck.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. We're waiting for you.
Can you? Okay. Oh, okay. Here comes it. Oh. Okay. Am I on the air now?
Yes, you are.
Oh, shucks. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey.
Hello there. Hold on. I have to just hold on a second. Oh, shit. Just a moment there. Oh, shit. Just one more second, if you will. Just something.
Happy birthday, Crystal.
Is Crystal's birthday today?
It's Crystal's birthday today. And as
Oh,
soon as I get off of here, we've all had our COVID, our coronavirus vaccines, and we're all going to get together. And guess what? We're not going to be wearing masks.
I know that's right. Have a good time. Happy birthday, Crystal. Have more fun for me.
You know that's right, girl.
And you know who else's birthday today?
Oh,
It's MC Hammer
is that right?
birthday. Too
All
legit.
right.
I
March has
think
had some great birthdays. Great
yes,
birthdays. Even your birthday was just last week, right?
yes, it was last Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a good time. I really enjoyed myself.
What all did you do?
Oh man, I went to a very small resort for Ariel. It was a very small group of people. All of us got tested for coronavirus. Everything went good. And my kids surprised me with Krispy Kreme donuts. They know I like it, so every once in a while I would eat Krispy Kreme donuts. So it's just a lot of love. Everybody giving me birthday wishes and everything, and I really
All
enjoyed
right.
it. Thank you all again. Love you.
Oh,
Okay, Charlie, are you ready?
yeah. Let me get my water real quick because I'm a little dry. I hadn't had any sleep, so oops. Now my strings untied. Oh,
Okay, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
oh, there's too much going on. Oh, can you guys see me?
Oh, we can see you good.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got get some.
Charlie, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Okay, how's everybody? Oh,
We're
okay.
good.
Okay, you're going in and out. I don't know. Am I on mute or something?
Why
Can
don't
you
you
hear me?
introduce yourself?
Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can turn this up. Okay. My name is Charlie Hodge Jr., better known as the Windy City bass player. I was born on the west side of Chicago in the early 60s. I grew up in the housing projects on the west side, housing projects called Rockwell Gardens. I know some of you out there probably heard of the Rockwell Gardens housing projects. And
Mhm.
so, what would you like to know?
Okay,
Well,
were you? Okay, we know that you're from Chicago and you were born here, so I'm taking for granted that you went to school here too, right?
Okay. So let me break it down. Let me do a breakdown. What is that? Let me do this. Let me take you there. 1960s, in the early 1960s, I go like as I said earlier, housing projects of the Rockwell Gardens, and then I went to grammar school where I used to see the Black Panthers go through their drills. I went to UAS public grammar school at that time, and it was interesting to see the Panthers go through their Fred Hampton, all those guys go through it, and that was like the early 60, around 67. And then from there, moving forward, I eventually went to Crane High School.
mhm.
And then at that time, I was about 14, 15. I was playing a whole lot of clubs at that time. But I didn't have a bass guitar quite yet. And so the candy lady in the projects where I live on the fifth floor, because my mom and dad, I have 7 brothers and 1 sister, and my mom and dad, and my mother couldn't hear. So what happened? My dad tried to say he eventually saved money to get me, but he couldn't do it at that time. So, but I eventually actually had my grandfather had some guitars, and that happened later on after the candy lady saved money to get me my first guitar. It was called the Conrad, right? And it was all
Mhm.
red, like this bass here. I don't know if you see this bass guitar here, but it was all apple red. And so after that, I started playing clubs a lot, and then I started playing with groups on the west side. I was going through Major Adams and Henry Horner, where Verdine and all those people grew up at one time. And then eventually I went to Crane High School. From Crane High School, I went to Brown High School.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry, eventually moved from Rockwell Gardens.
Did
Excuse
you
me.
have did you have anybody in your family that was musically inclined or in the music
Yeah, my
industry
dad.
that
Yeah, yeah,
influenced
yeah, yeah.
you?
Yeah, my dad played guitar, so I actually started on guitar before I started playing bass. Uh, uh, I started playing bass out of necessity because the my friends when we were growing up at that time, we were about 12, 13 years old. He eventually, I played rhythm guitar back in those days. They used to call we used to have rhythm guitars. Now we don't have rhythm guitars players anymore, but they don't call it that anymore. But anyway, I was a rhythm guitar player, and then my friend was a guitar player, and the other guy named Douglas Wallace was the bass player. But then he eventually moved. They bought a house, got out of the projects, and so he couldn't come over as much. And so I would take over his parts on guitar, and then all of a sudden he wasn't coming over that much. He wasn't coming over, so I said, okay, I'll try to play his parts again and again and again, and then all of a sudden he started coming that all. So I said, and then I end up starting looking the bass. So what I would do, I would take guitars have six strings, took the two strings off, and start playing that like it was a bass until the candy lady got me my first bass guitar, and that's how I ended up playing bass all the way up to now actually, and that's been about I don't know 40, 50 years ago or more. I don't want to tell my age, but that's been a long time ago. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, I went to Crane. Like I said, I went to Malcolm. Then my mom and dad moved us in Bronzeville. Then I went to Kennedy King. I dropped out of there, out of school. My father was getting mad and said, because I wasn't going to school as much, and I didn't like school. I love music, so I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this school thing. So, so he got mad. So I was like, okay. He said, you got to go. I said, oh, really? I said, okay, all right, Dad, all right. So I ended up leaving the house. I was about 14 at that time, and then I went over to my friend's house on the west side and ended up staying there. Uh, and then eventually went back to get my GED over at Malcolm X College, and then I ended up playing with Malcolm X College while I was at Crane High School before I went to Martin Luther King. And so my career really started uh, at Malcolm, where I used to see Earth, Wind, Fire horn players when they were off from tour. They would go and play with the college band at that time. And that was now around 1975, 76, or something like that. And then so I was going to Malcolm to get my GED. I got a phone call, and a friend of mine, we had a band called Wacker Drive, and they were on the road with the Emotions at the time. And so I would go see them. And after that, I went to see them. It was a great show. They were on during the world tour already with the Commodores when Lionel Richie was in the band. And
Oh,
so I went to see him at the Auditorium Theater in Chicago. After that, I got a phone call, and who was that? Keith Henderson, guitar player. Keith Henderson, the great hit Keith Henderson. We'll talk more about him
mm,
later, hopefully, if we have time. But anyway, he called me and auditioned me. So my friends in the band, we had our band. They were horn players. They were playing with the Emotions band. That was our band, right? And so I had to usually have to wait for them to get back from tour. But anyway, they called me. He auditioned me. So he auditioned me for about 2 days. So I had my girlfriend at the time, and I couldn't afford to buy a CD. So I asked their mom to buy me a CD to listen to all these records because I had to hurry up and learn all these songs. But knowing that Earth, Wind, and Fire would produce, Maurice White, founder and leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire, was producing the Emotions at that time. I had already did 2 albums, and so I had to learn all that stuff really quick because 3 days later, I had to fly out of town. And so once I did it, I kept stomping out. And then Keith Henderson was like, wow, you got the job. And I was like, oh my God. His friends was trying to get it. They didn't learn it like I did. So, and Verdine was my mentor. So I'm like, I'm going to learn every part, every detail of his bass lines because Verdine White is the bass player for the Emotions. He's the blueprint of what I am today as a bass player. And so he was my blueprint. So I played everything, all this style so exact. And then he said, wow, you playing just like Verdine. I said, thank you. And then before you know it, I got the job, flew to San Francisco, I think. And I ended up meeting the Emotions and the band and Lionel Richie and the Commodores. And it was a great experience. I was at that time, I was about 17 or something like that. And then I
Oh,
went on the
wow.
road, and the rest is history. So then I end up on the last leg of that world tour we were doing with the Commodores Emotions. We were at the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, and all the stars came out: Michael Jackson, Madonna, Quincy Jones, Maurice White, of course, and many other stars there came to see that last show in LA called the Greek Theater. And from there, so after the show, Maurice had a fantastic show, and Maurice came backstage and greeted me and the band. The Emotions band and everybody, and next thing I know, then we flew back to Chicago after that great show, and Wanda Hutchinson ended up calling me and said, Maurice White wants you to do the next Earth Me Emotions album. I said, you got to be kidding me. And she said, yeah, I'm serious. And so I flew out about the next 3 or 4 days, went there and did the next Emotions albums and ended up doing two of them with Maurice. And Maurice took me to his wing personally. He always come pick me up. Great. I learned so much from Maurice White. What incredible genius of a musician was. And so everything
Yes.
that I am today, I owe that to Maurice White, Lyrical Empire, and Verdine White, of course.
Wow, what an
All
amazing
right.
story.
So, were you out there on the road touring all together?
Okay. Well, the first tour was in 1977. That was the
Mhm.
period. And the first one was about a year for a world tour with the Commodores. Because they had Brickhouse House, and we had the Best of My Love, right? So those are two really big hits. And so we were traveling that for about a year. And then we went back and I went and recorded another album with Maurice. And then we went back out
Mhm.
with the Brother Johnsons. If anybody heard the Brother Johnsons, and it was us and the Brother Johnsons, that was the next
Yeah.
tour that we ended up doing. And so that was really exciting for me because I got to meet, we were all traveling on the same plane. It was the same private plane that Irvin and Fire used that we used in the Brother Johnsons did. So they called that the Brother and Sister Tour. And if anybody seen my documentary, I kind of explain all those details of what happened at that time. But yeah, and that was for you. They called that the Flower Sisters and Brother Tour, and that's when at that time we had a song called "Walking the Line." You heard this song before? Has
What's the
anybody
name
heard
of
that
it?
song? You're walking, huh? You're
What's the
walking the
name of
line,
the
walking the
song?
line. Yeah,
At the
walking
end.
the line. Say you
Did
do.
you say walking the
Dun dun
line?
dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. You're walking the line.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
You take my love around. You heard that song, right?
Yes, I
Yes,
have.
yes, yes. Just didn't know
Mhm.
the name of
Yeah.
it.
So
And
yeah,
I
they
done
know the
heard it
name of it.
many times. I never knew that was the title of the song.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
walking the line. Yeah, and we had Don't Ask My Neighbors, and
Oh my
I mean, there's so many songs, that we did, and we were dazzling crowds like crazy out there. I mean, we were doing stadium. We were sold out stadiums for 2 years straight.
God. Mhm.
It was incredible. And then after that, Maurice White, after working with Maurice White, I became really famous very quickly because of that as a musician, as a bass player in Chicago. And I started doing all the records, all the Chicago artists like the Dale's records, Shylights.
Mhm.
You ever heard the song before?
Yeah.
You got me hot, 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 hot on the thing. It was called Hot on the Thing. You ever heard the song before?
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
Yes.
You got me. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, I
You
was
were
doing
there.
Childlike, Gene Chandler, Walter Jackson, Tyrone Davis.
Oh, wow.
I was doing staple singers. I mean, I can go on and on. It's too many. I can't even think straight, to be honest. I've played on so many records that people had babies on with all these records I played on, so I became the top bass player of my period, starting in 1977 and playing with all these different people, and then I end up being an inspiration for a lot of people as a bass player because of my association with working with Maurice White under Kalimba Productions, his production company, which he was producing also
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I
I'm
want to
still
ask.
here.
I want to ask ChuckaLuck a question. Um,
Denise
yeah.
Williams, a group called Verdine was producing a
Crazy.
group.
Chocolate, I want to ask a question. With your experience and you being blessed to travel down this amazing path as a musician, I know you as also a music composer, a songwriter. I mean, you wear more than one hat in this industry, and I want to know: are you like carrying on this legacy and sharing it with other up and coming potential musicians? Like the youth, are in that, I would say, in that avenue where you can share with them your knowledge, your wisdom, and what it would take for them to develop themselves as a musician?
Okay, that's a good question. Um, I've always been passionate about giving back to our youth, and I continue to do so. That's why I started a program called Down with Guns Up with Instruments, which was a gun exchange program to curb the violence that we were experiencing in Chicago. And so I'd use that program to, like I said, it was a gun exchange program for instruments. And so I would work with different human services places where I would implement my program. And so I would try to keep kids as inspired as much as possible. Sometimes in the hip hop world, when hip hop came, that kind of changed the dynamics of how kids feel about real instruments because it takes discipline, dedication, and and we live in a world that there's so much distraction that some of our youth are being distracted and not having the love and for real music. And then we had sampling coming and rappers, and then everything got sort of dogmatic, I would say. And but now it seems like I'm starting to see a surge of young people in Chicago that really want to learn instruments. They just didn't have mentors around them enough,
Mm,
like I had when I came up. We had a lot of musician mentors. That's all we did. But when the technology came in, the digital revolution, that changed the whole dynamic and respect for. It was the beginning and end for real musicians at that time when the technology had arrived, and then the drum machine was the first thing we saw, where they were cutting tapes. At the time, we had analog. Right now, we're in the digital world, and so they were cutting tapes, and we were going like, "What's that? And where's the drum at?" It's like, "No, we're cutting the tape, and we're going to cut the machine. We're going to sync it up with the 2-inch tape." And I was like, so that was like really strange. And then the drummer disappeared. Then the guitar player, and then they kept having bass to kind of go in and out. But then the keyboard player was getting all the work at that time. But getting back to your questions about the youth, I'm currently working here in Evanston and obviously in Chicago as well to implement my program back again to get because sales went up for guitar selling, and then with the pandemic world that we live in, we were experiencing a lot of depression and or suicides and all that with the youth, and so being quarantine like that we have been for the last year. And so music is a great tool to break away from the matrix that we're actually living in, and so that we
mm,
can put these kids back on a higher vibration. And that was the beauty of all the greats that came before me and others. And that's why Earth and Fires and bands like that were so important to give us hope, and that we can live a better life. And you don't have to end up being a musician, but but it improves your math and your character and so many things. We just need more mentors to to,
yeah.
to, to keep our young people encouraged.
I agree with that absolutely, and I commend you for doing what you're doing for our youth and for people of all age. Pretty much, they respect you very greatly. I know I do, and I know Katie Lowe do as well.
Absolutely.
And it's just nothing but love and a lot of respect, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
love. You know what, yeah, that's right. The love, we're missing a lot of love, a lot of historical perspective. There are a lot of things because of our schools we've been socially engineered. And put it this way, and it's a story for another day, but most of what we've been told to us when it comes to history is that 99% has been told to us in reverse. And so, we're at a tipping point where we need to get back to who we were before we were colonized.
mm,
And what I mean by that is that we have to get back to culture. Culture is very important. Cultivating is very important. And this is what I'm working on, and me and my other contemporaries are doing now, which I don't know if I should mention this right now, but I got you even involved, Patice, in this
mm.
Ancient Mama project that we're doing.
Yes, I was going
And
to bring that up too. Yeah, yes,
yeah, I don't know if it's too early to mention that, but anyway, but basically, my point I was trying to make is that it's time for us to codify and unite again and get closer and forget about the negative and really come together and let's cultivate and rebuild and plant the seeds for this next generation and help and bring back the respect of the elders because we do have the wisdom to drop on these young people if anyone would listen. And so now that we're in a world that no one knew was coming, this kind of pandemic that happened, it really threw a lot of people under the loop. And so people are trying to find answers and solutions. And so I put it this way: I have a holistic answer and solution to that, and it starts with love. It starts with music. It starts with history, and it starts with cultivation and elevation. And so I'm developing a program now for both adults, sound what I call sound therapy, using pots and pans. You probably see some pots and pans down here, and multiple instruments.
yeah,
It's a holistic way for me to get people to play to the plants and to calm our spirits down in a pandemic world. And so I would talk more about that later. But this is music is healing, and when you're going through something or a trauma or whatever you're going through, music has spiritual healing properties that will get us back on track, and so that we can move forward in our lives with inspiration and faith. You can't move anywhere if you don't have faith, and then we can't
absolutely.
move into our future until we understand our past. And so once we get the right perspective of our history and get back to culture and love and respect, you'll see a quick 60-degree, I mean 360-degree turn. And this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to weaponize the music now to use the power of music to change so many things in our lives, and we can do that by using what we say into the universe is what we create, right? If you say whether it's good or
Mm,
bad, because the universe doesn't discriminate. It doesn't know black, blue, green, nothing like that. It just waits on instructions. And so once we understand how this works with the universe, we can improve our lives by paying attention to what we say and what we do. And we can improve our lives just by being conscious of that.
mm,
And so music, like I said, is going to be something that I'm full 100%, 1,000% in to help our young people. And while I'm teaching them music, I give them some history, and we'll talk about cultivating, planting plants. I want to I have a program that we're going to do that we're going to take kids on the farm so they can start growing their own things. So they don't have to be dependent on the American construct of governments that we find ourselves doing all the time. And so this is about self determination, and we can achieve that.
I want to ask a question. If
Mhm.
someone wants to follow you or support what you're doing, or even be a part of what you are doing, is do you have a website or some sort of outlet where they can contact you or come in together with you on that?
Yeah, this is really interesting. Yeah, I have a thing. This is for bass players, but I'm getting ready. There's a lot of moving parts to what I'm doing. The first thing, the what my website is www.basstripes.com. Now that's a website for bass players, right? But also I'm going to have the Down with Guns program, teaching the instruments, right? Then there's another component where uh, uh, we teach holistic
Mhm.
holistic training, sound therapy. Another thing we're doing is we're going to be having festivals. We want everybody to come out to the farm. And because we're talking about building housing and we're searching for all those things. And we're using the Anchamama platform to speak to culture, history,
Why would you use the
cultivation.
ancient mama? Why would you use? Okay, now I want to ask you this
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I know that they are re-imaging Aunt Jemima. I know they taking her off the packaging. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Hmm.
okay, wait. Let me ask this question because you say you want to use the Aunt Jemima platform, so you just open the door for me to come in, and I'm finna walk myself right in your door. Now,
You're about to open
know
up
that
Pandora box, but go ahead.
I'm,
You know
well,
what?
I'm gonna say it. They might run me out the internet, and you say
Yeah.
don't
Go ahead.
use it,
Take
but
me
I'm
there.
gonna say this. Now, Aunt Jemima has been a staple in my life, probably every black family's life for a long time, and a lot of white families' lives for a long time because they've been eating them pancakes, making them biscuits, and eating that syrup. All of a sudden,
You know who? You know who? I could hear you.
wait a minute, all of a sudden, now Aunt Jemima, they want to take her off the package. They want to re image that package and remove her face because they say it's racist. Is it racist or is it about money?
Okay. You want me to answer that question, right? So, okay.
Answer that
There's a lot.
question.
Okay. Very good question. Well, first of all, let me reiterate. I mean, let people know who don't know the situation in association with Aunt Mama. The first thing is that we know that Aunt Mama, her actual name was Nancy Green. She was a living person who moved from Montgomery County, Kentucky. She was a slave. Now there's a controversy surrounding her name about her recipe. So what happened is that like most slaves did, and they breastfeed the slave masters' children.
Absolutely.
They were often raped, and people of that era in the 1800s, right? And so
Right?
what happens is, so she was fixing this recipe for the milling company, which that's the milling company that they retired. They went back to the beginning from the Aunt Jemima we knew back to the first people that she was slave to. So now, so what happened? They sold it to, I can't think of the name of the people they sold it to for worldwide distribution on the Aunt Jemima brand. Then they sold it to the Quaker Oats family, which was the parent company. From Quakers, now it's with Pepsi Cola. So all the systemic racism that had derived from all the mammy look that you're speaking of, because we got two different looks here, right? Images. You got what Nancy. If you look right here, this is what Nancy Green looks like.
Just we Ray, is your
This
Raise
picture.
her up you can see it.
Can you see this picture here?
No, I
with
can't.
your name right there, your
Okay,
name
let
there.
me do this.
There you go.
Can you
Thank
see it?
you.
Yes.
Yes,
Can
I
you see
can.
that?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
that's she moved to Bronzeville, and she ended up working with the church. She was an activist, and she was also the spokesperson for the Enchilama brand. And she was a storyteller. So when they had those big fairs, just like Jewtown, but it was the
Hmm.
1800s, and I think it was where the museum science and industry where those big fairs took place. And she would tell a lot of stories, and she was a singer, and what happened. And then she was eventually got killed somewhere standing at a bus stop.
Oh
That was
wow.
alleged. I don't know how true that is, but in Brunsville. So this woman was walking around taking care of the people in the community. and she was your first. She was the first advertiser at any advertiser that ever exists. That advertising that we know now, she was the first brand of advertising around the world. Because of course, everybody ate Aunt Mama pancakes. Aunt Mama's is everybody's mama, right?
That's
And
right.
so everybody's mama. All right. So anyway,
Absolutely.
to make a long story short, back to your point. Now we're in a situation where we just had her. I'm working in association with Brownsville Historical Society. The founder of the Brownsville Historical Society, his name is Sherry Williams. It took her 15 years to dig up the Nancy Green story, and then of course she had it broken. It was broken on the story broke on the news. Channel 7 worldwide, Hula, all the huge social media platforms out there, and then there was protests behind that. But what people don't understand is that we don't want to retire the Mammy look because what she did was noble anyway. But there's a distortion about that, and then what a lot of people don't know is that there's a controversy now that we're understanding that the recipe was stolen. But you have to think about it, makes sense. And then the court law said, well, what evidence do you have to substantiate that, right? Well, guess what? We may not even have it because you know how many vintages have been stolen. We're walking around right here. Somebody, you call him African American, black man built the traffic light, the first heart surgery. There are so many inventions that have been
Right.
stolen,
Absolutely. That's
and we've
right.
been
They get
social
us.
engineered. So in the court of law, you can't prove anything because they took our birth certificates. We're the only people on the planet that's been reclassified at least 5 or 6 times until we end up being called African American. That's a story for another day. So what the companies say is that, well, if you don't have any proof to substantiate what you then you don't have any proof. But and I was talking to a lawyer about this kind of thing yesterday and said, the court system, the Constitution, we're not protected. We're lawless. They've been broken. The constitutions that their forefathers created, and we look at it's the Supreme Court. We have a hard time always winning. We can't really winning from losing because we want reparations, we want this and that, but we have to keep fighting over and over. But as long as we in this construct, it's hard for us to get justice. And so now, not what people don't know is about this recipe. So now we're going to have to investigate that with Coca, Pepsi, Cola, because they did admit to the systemic racism that happened back in the blackface days, right? Uh, 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 and so what's happening is that we're going to have to really move further into this. And so we're using the Ancient Mama platform to speak to the corporations to find out that there's some money owed because of Nancy Green. What happened to her? What happened to the money? And why were you all trying to see what they did? They already have retired her brand, her face. But
Well,
what they don't, but what people,
I know
excuse
that
me.
they're rebranding that because let me tell you, I went on Amazon just because I'm nosy. I went on Amazon and eBay and some of the other sites, and like I was going to order. Have you seen the prices on Aunt Jemima syrup?
Is it the milling company now, which is called the milling company?
Listen, pe- people and anybody that's listening, you should do it because let me tell you something. Anytime I go in the store and I see a bottle and it's got a face on it, I'm grabbing it. I'm buying it. And if I get it, I 4 bottles, just 4 bottles of syrup, you might pay $200.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And
kid you not.
that's why I kept these boxes because
Yes.
not because not because of just the pancake itself, but what's in it.
Package. And they're re-imaging the package. I might be cold blooded for saying this, but I'm gonna say this. They're taking her face off because they don't want to pay nobody.
Hmm.
Okay, that's why they're doing it. Otherwise, box a pancake mix. No, this is a 6 pack, and I think 6 bottles was like
Generation, so we don't have to experience what we've been experiencing for the last 465 years and still go on.
absolutely. Listen, Charlie, ChuckaLuck, I want to tell you, I thank you for taking out your precious time and talking with us. There is so much more I wanted to ask. Maybe on the next time we get together and sit here and talk, I will get to ask those questions. Our time has run out.
Mhm.
But if you think about when I started this show, I made the statement that in everything that we do as people of color, I mean, in everything that we do, racism is a facet in it. Whether you believe it or not, start opening your eyes and start opening your ears. It is a facet, it plays a part in everything that you do, even in the coronavirus vaccine, into which we all need to live. Racism has come in and played a part in it. Okay? So be aware. Be aware. Racism. I am a senior citizen. I'm a baby boomer. Racism was around back then and it's around now. And if you think you're going to get rid of it, you're wrong. Okay? If you think you got a solution to get rid of it, then you need to inbox me and come on the show and talk about it. My name.
Okay, well, I just want to say this real. Oh, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
Come on, tell me.
Hello.
I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I have a mission statement. We don't have time to talk about that, but we're gonna attack all these issues and try not to concentrate so much on. Well, the racism is going to be there. It's going to continue to be there. We want to make sure that we start concentrating on building and cultivating, and that's going to change the paradigm and take what we have together. And we 1% of the Americans' wealth and with over $3 trillion into the American economy. We just got to use critical thinking and use our power and stop empowering all these other people and start empowering ourselves because everybody's eating off of us. Okay, that's just
Mhm.
the reality of it. And so, but that's a story for another day. And we'll talk about all these issues, and so that we can find real solutions and not going around in circles, and we're still not seeing things change. So we have to be, and we're going to have to speak to the Constitution because our Constitution is not working for us either. They're breaking, the constitutions have been broken all the time, and we're being censored every time we want to speak. Like the First Amendment, the right to assembly, right, the right to freedom of speech, and the right to petition your government. But that's getting gagged over all the time. So we're gonna continue to do what we're gonna have to do to change the paradigm, and we're gonna have to educate as many people about the war that we still continue to be in under the American corporation, which is not a country. But we'll talk about that later. But thank you so much for having me on your show. God bless everybody out there and all your listeners. And hey, man, look me up at www.basstribes.com. We've been trying to put on our first festival, hopefully by August, and we want everybody to come out and have a good time, man. And we're going to have all kinds of festivities going on. So I will keep you and your listeners out there posted as much as I can.
Okay, we Lady Patisa reach out to you because there's some more discussion that has to go on. But my name, you got something you want to say, Lady Patisse, before I son?
I just want to say thank you so much, ChuckaLuck. I appreciate you. You always have given me love and respect, you and your entire family. And you welcome me in like I'm a sister. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on our show today and just sharing
Thank
with
you.
us your musical experience as a musician, as a man coming up in Chicago. And we definitely is just blessed by your story and your testimony and everything. So thank you, and I hope you'll be able to come
You're
again.
so welcome. Well, you know what? People don't know this, but we have a hot new album coming out with Patice on it. She's the new face of the Aunt Mama. We got some of the hottest music coming out that I produce. As a matter of fact, I'm producing her, and she's not saying anything about it. But she's the new Aunt Mama. We have a whole Aunt Mama album coming out, y'all. Probably I'm hoping about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Well, I'm still finishing up production on it. But Patrice has done a wonderful job. She sounds like between just for your listeners out there. Look for this. You're going to hear this song called "It Ain't Sitting with Me Well." It ain't fitting on me well. And so, to your other hosts, to Katie, and all those people that are speaking to issues, these songs speak to the issues facing Black people all over the world, all over the diaspora of Africa. And this is the theme song for the world. And you guys are gonna know what I'm talking about. Her performance on this thing is amazing. She sounds like
Okay.
Coco Taylor, Betsy Smith, Etta James, herself, and the many others, man. It's all wrapped into this song, man. Look for it, y'all. It's called
Okay.
"It Ain't Sitting With Me Well." It ain't fitting on me well, and I wrote the music. She wrote the lyrics, and look for it.
All right, listen. My name is Katie Lowe, and this is Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. We thank you for joining in. And listen, I do want to tell everybody the pandemic is still here. Coronavirus is still here. It's still killing. Get vaccine. Think spring. Take care of yourself. If you're scared, find you somebody to talk to. You need to get vaccinated. All right? That's my time. Bye bye, everybody.
All right, take care. Love everybody.